Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Quick two-game series with the Nationals went very well for the Orioles. Really, honestly, couldn't have gone any better. Maybe a few more runs scored. That's about it. Let's get right into the first game. Washington Nationals, Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. Nationals 0, Orioles 1. Very quick game. Gunnar Henderson, you see this lead off. Said it before, but change mid-season and then change again, and then this looks to be it. Righty on the mound, Henderson, then Rutschman. Henderson, 2 for 4, 1 RBI, 1 run. Scored. Rutschman, 0 for, did work in a walk there. Santander, 1 for 4. O'Hearn, 0 for Hicks, 0 for 2, but did walk once. Mullins, 0 for. Hayes, 1 for 3. Frazier, 1 for 2. Also worked a walk. Yeah, Rutschman was the other walk. Arias, 1 for 3. Henderson, home run, solo home run. I guess it wasn't technically the first pitch, but leading off the game. And that would be the only run scored. Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. Frazier, another steal. Henderson, caught stealing. He tried to steal home. Henderson said in the post-game interview he thought the pitcher wasn't necessarily paying enough attention, nor was the third baseman. He thought he got a really good jump, and he thought he could get in there. It was very close. But sadly, you ain't got Jackie Robinson's speed. But he did make it close. It's a very quick game because, as you can see, between the Orioles and the Nationals, only 5 pitchers. Between 2 teams? Wow. That doesn't happen. Of course, when you're Kyle Bradish and you go 8 innings and only give up 3 hits and 2 walks, it's going to be very quick. 4 strikeouts to go along with that. Cano getting his 8th save of the season. Pitches the 9th inning. No hits, no runs, no walks. 3 strikeouts. Hot damn. About time they looked that good. One of the best pitching performances, and I know there weren't that many strikeouts. 7, less than 1 per inning, which isn't that typical of an Orioles game. But they were on pace. The Nationals lineup was off balance and ended up striking out. And, I mean, only 7 times, but it's okay. Good defense behind you, and with 1 double play. But that was very quick. That was game 1. Here is game 2. Nationals 1, Orioles 5. A little bit more offense in this one. Left-hander starting, so Hayes leading off. This is kind of why I mentioned, last game, Henderson and Rutschman seems to be pretty much the norm for righties. Now, Hayes leading off is something that has been tried a few times through the year. Definitely the past 2 or 3 lefties that they've faced. Hayes leading off. Worked out very well this time. Hayes, 2 for 3. Worked a walk. Drove in a run. And scored a run himself. Adley Rutschman, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Scored once, also worked a walk. That's... Usually you don't see Rutschman driving in 3 runs a game. But he is very capable of it. He usually doesn't do it because he hits higher in the lineup. He's usually one of the guys that gets on to be driven in instead of driving them in. Santander, 1 for 5, scored a run. O'Hearn, and as you can see, Mountcastle was not in the game, though I think he was available off the bench. You see Santander got to start at first base. I think he looks good at first base. It is kind of surprising that somebody that, from our standpoint, we've seen him play the outfield for what, 4 years? Who would have thought that he could go to third? Who would have thought that he could have just gone to first base and played outstanding? First base talent right there. And I like his glove. He's got kind of an orange mitt out there. It looks good. O'Hearn did come in late, defense replacement. Not quite sure that I agree that Ryno O'Hearn is a better defender at first base than Santander, so it could have been more something along the lines of getting Santander off his feet, because he does play a lot. Hicks, 0 for, though he did walk. Henderson, 0 for, did not fare too well against the lefty this night. Westberg, 1 for 3, drove in a run and also walked. McCann starting at catcher because Rutschman DH'd, 1 for 4. Mullins dropped pretty far down in the lineup, though again I did say lefty starter. 1 for 4, scored a run. Mateo, 1 for 2, worked a walk and scored a run and stole another base. 30. He's up to 30 now. That is really one of the reasons why he's still on this team. I haven't seen a lot of offensive production out of him, but you know what? You don't really need it. He plays really good defense at shortstop. He has a lot of range. Yes, he may mishandle balls, but you know what? At the same time, he gets to more balls than 90% of the shortstops in this league. So yeah, you're going to see him fumble a few. Not fumble, that's the wrong sport, but you know what I mean. May fumble a ground ball here or there. But on the plus side, usually that would probably prevent a run from scoring, say from maybe a second base on a 2-out play. Mullins double, Rutschman home run, 2-run home run. That was the first scoring that the Orioles did, and they didn't need any more, though they got it. Sid Mateo stolen base. Hayes also stole a base. Grayson Rodriguez got the start in this one. Now, he only threw 87 pitches, and he only got through 5 2/3, but there were men on the corners, if I'm not mistaken, when Brandon Hyde took him out. And part of that is it wasn't necessary for him to be out there. You had a day off. You had Gibson throw 7 innings the other night. You had Bradish throw 8 innings last night. Let's get some relievers in there now, while it does kind of seem like they need some work. So Coulomb comes in, gets out of the jam, and then pitches a whole nother inning. So 1 1/3 innings pitched. No hits, no runs, no walks. 1 strikeout. Jacob Webb pitched the 8th inning. No hits, no runs, no walks. 2 strikeouts. Tyler Wells. Tough to say whether he will be a starter for the playoffs or a reliever. I'm thinking we got Rodriguez and Bradish for sure being starters for the playoffs. Kramer and Gibson are probably next in line. Definitely don't think you need more than 4 starters. So Where's Tyler Wells in that? Well, he's kind of high on innings. And he has experience coming out for an inning or two from the bullpen. Does Dean Kramer? Not really. Does Kyle Gibson? Yes, Kyle Gibson does, because Kyle Gibson has been around for a while and has been on playoff teams. But Tyler Wells is more of a strikeout pitcher, so therefore that plays a little better in the bullpen in late inning games, which he has done before. He has closed games out for Orioles teams in the past. Tyler Wells, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. That's what I'm saying about the strikeouts. And how many pitches did he throw? Webb actually threw only 11 pitches, and Wells only threw 12 pitches. So 23 pitches between Wells and Webb to get through 2 innings. Very efficient. Coulomb only needed 17. So really is fantastic to see the turnaround with the pitching staff. Bullpen was getting their tails kicked. I mean, they're just heavily taxed. Then you got good outing from Means. Followed up by, good outings by... Did Kramer have a good outing? Kramer had a good outing. And then there was an off day. And then Gibson. And then... So, bullpen's pretty well rested. They did pitch a few innings here in the 2-game set with the Nationals, but should be fairly well rested for this 4-game series with the Boston Red Sox coming up. And potentially guys like a Cole Irvin or Brian Baker will be available to come back up for, I'm pretty sure, the last 2 games with the Red Sox. There is a thing about when you send somebody down, they got to be down for, 2 weeks or is it 10 days? I think it's 2 weeks. So they will come off of that, we'll call it probation, in a day or 2. So the bullpen should be in pretty good shape. All right, let's get to an article. Rock Kubatko wrote this yesterday, so that would be Wednesday. Says it all right there. Headline, Mountcastle back. We like to have Mountcastle back. We are good. It's good to see that Rock mentioned something in this article about seeing Ryan Mountcastle put on a hoodie or something, and you can do that without pain and such in his shoulder. That's a good thing. So, good that it appears that it's not a serious injury. The downside of this, Ryan McKenna sent down again. Sadly, unless there's an injury, he won't be able to be called back up this year. Doesn't mean he won't make the playoff roster, but Ryan McKenna's regular season is over, which is somewhat disappointing. But another article written by Rock Kubatko today mentions that at the time that he wrote this article, which is about 2 in the afternoon, Mountcastle was scheduled to be in the lineup against Chris Sale. We will see when we get closer to game time. Hopefully, no setbacks. But the big headline, magic number is now 1. 4 games with the Boston Red Sox at Camden Yards. You win one of these, and you're in. And over the Tampa Bay Rays next 3 games, if they lose one of those 3 games, that would also count. Magic number is 1. Orioles have a real shot to clinch the AL East tonight by themselves. The Rays are off. The Orioles are playing the Red Sox. So, as you take a look at the standings here, let me make sure it's refreshed. Sure, everything's refreshed. Getting close. We're getting close. I can feel it. Tampa Bay Rays are still 2.5 games back. of the Orioles. Orioles have 4 games left to play. Rays have 3. Twins have pretty much locked up the Central. Looks like the Rangers and the Astros still fighting for the West out there. I don't know that the Mariners have a shot to win the West. But let's get to the schedule. Talk about playoff scheduling maybe on the next show. It's not necessarily something I need to talk about here. 4 games set with the Boston Red Sox at Camden Yards. Thursday's game scheduled for 6:35. Friday's scheduled for 7:05. Saturday's game scheduled for 7:15. And Sunday being the last game of the year. Everybody, all the baseball games played, so this coming Sunday will be played at 3:05 Eastern Time. That is to, so teams don't start pulling all their starters and then you get a very uncompetitive game that isn't that fun to watch. Like, say, a Sunday night baseball. Well, if one of the teams in there has already clinched everything, then they might pull the starter too, and it wouldn't be as entertaining. But, oh well. All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Ryno's Orioles Report. Very good series for the Orioles, getting the magic number down to 1 ahead of this Boston Red Sox series. Stay tuned for my next show. Should drop around Monday afternoon. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm the Angry Ryno. This is Birdland.